So now that you've created your social media accounts, you're kind of thinking, okay, where do I go? What do I do? And how can I make sure people are seeing my content? All of these questions, hopefully we're going to get them answered in today's video. Hello, my fellow writers. My name is Stephanie, and today we are talking about author platforms. With social media, you are able to connect with hundreds and thousands of readers, their parents, their family and friends, all of these different types of people, and potentially convert those into sales. Although creating a social media platform does not mean you will automatically get sales, it does mean that you will be able to create a community. That's why today I wanted to go over my top 4 tips on how you should start building your author platform and why you need one. When you're publishing traditionally, you will typically have the publishing's marketing team help you with your social media. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't already be familiar or have something in place before you get signed. Same goes with if you're self-publishing, because when you're self-publishing, you are your marketing team. You are creating your social media strategy, and you are creating that strategy to help boost sales. Social media is completely free. Whether you are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of those start off as free accounts. So if you decide to use paid advertisements, that's completely up to you, but it's pretty much free. That's why I think it's such an important step to get started with social media, because especially if you're self-publishing, you probably don't have that big of a budget. So you want to invest in yourself as an author, but you also want to kind of make sure your money is going into the right place. With social media, you can use these free accounts and gain traction to you as an author and create that connection between your readers and your books. However, these 2 things that I'm about to mention can slow you down if you don't have a strategy and you're not consistent. We'll talk about strategy and consistency and other ways that you can build your social media platform and just your author platform in general later on. But for today, we're just going to talk about why you should be looking into social media as a marketing strategy. So aside from social media, within your author platform, the minimum that I recommend is a website with a blog and a newsletter. In addition to having a website, blog, and newsletter, you should also have 1 to 3 social media platforms. And I say 1 to 3 just because you don't want to overexert yourself and you want to make sure you're being consistent. If you know realistically that you can only tackle your Facebook page on a more consistent basis, don't start an Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter and then just let them sit there and not be populating any content. To not get too technical, it's all about SEO. Google wants to see that you are being active, that you are creating consistent content, that you are a relevant search result to the person that is searching for something similar to what you do. Having a blog just increases the relevancy and it makes you more active. So when you are posting blogs, I wouldn't recommend making them more as journal entries, but rather strategic blog posts. And we can get more into this later on, but start thinking about it a bit more now. If you don't have a blog yet, or you do and it's kind of just sitting there, try to use your blog as something that's informative for your readers, that is also crawlable for Google so that you can become a more relevant source. If you also caught that I mentioned that you would want a newsletter, and that is so that you can capture these potential leads and these potential readers. Once someone gets onto your website and they get prompted to sign up to your newsletter, then you'll start to slowly create a list. And these lists of people, as you start updating them with different information related to your books, they will either stay and start purchasing or they'll leave. And if they leave, that's fine. You want to focus on building a newsletter list that can revenue in sales. So as you're deciding which social media platform you should be using, you not only want to look at which you'll be more comfortable with or which you know you'll be more consistent at, but you also want to look at where your audience is. Main platforms that are most commonly used are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. You can use other social media platforms if you see them relevant. It's important to look at where your audience is. So if you are a young adult romance author, you would likely want to stick to Instagram or Twitter. Whereas if you write nonfiction novels, then most of your audience might be on Facebook. So it might take a little bit of playing around, but once you find that platform where most of your audience and potential readers are, then it's going to be so much easier to capture a larger audience and have more engagement towards your content. So while social media is incredibly useful with gaining traffic, it does not equate to sales. Like I mentioned earlier, you can use paid advertisements, but when we're looking at social media, you want to see it more as a way to connect with readers and to build that relationship. A lot of the times, audiences like to see what their favorite authors are up to. They like to see what their office looks like. They like to see where they're at in their journey with their newest novel. They like to get excited with what is upcoming and what they should be expecting. And you can use social media to your advantage, not only to use it as a way to get sales, but to also connect with your readers. You have access to thousands and millions of people on the internet, and use that to your advantage. Another thing to think about too is, rather than only posting about your own work, share work of other authors in that same platform. There's tons of authors on Twitter and Facebook and all of these different platforms, and it wouldn't hurt every couple of days to retweet something they tweeted, or post an article you really liked from LitHub or from the New York Times or anything along those lines, rather than just pushing out your own content and promoting your own books. Also talk about what else is happening in the publishing world. This will help not only gain more traction to your social media site since you're bringing outside sources, but this is also going to keep your followers engaged, because no one likes to feel that the person they're following is forcing these products onto them. They want to follow people that they're genuinely interested in and that are posting relevant content that they're interested in. So that doesn't necessarily have to just be what you're currently working on. It should be about other things that are happening and that interest you and that are relevant to you as a person, because social media strips away that professional layer, if you want to think about it that way, and you are able to get a bit more personal on social media than you would on your website or anything like that that's a little bit more professional. And as long as it fits within your brand as an author, you can get as personal as you like. I follow tons of authors such as Celeste Ng or Roxane Gay who are incredibly political, and although that's something that not a lot of people agree with, it's still part of them and who they are and what makes them more authentic as authors. So it really depends what you're comfortable with sharing, but do keep in mind that it is also incredibly important to not just post your own product and your own books. The last major tip, which I kind of touched upon earlier in my previous tips, is using your social media to get others excited, to get your audience excited of your upcoming work. You can use this with your newsletter and blogs as well, in addition to your social media. For example, you can create a poll on Twitter asking which character name they prefer best, and using the answer you can mention it in your latest blog or newsletter saying which one you ultimately picked. And those on Twitter, although they'll know, you can also give them an incentive to sign up to your newsletter to find out more information of what's going on. So by keeping your readers engaged and excited about upcoming work, you can also cross-promote different platforms. You can also start Facebook groups and discussions within your author page, talking about your current struggles with writing your book or getting some advice from your readers of what they would like more. You can use your Instagram to take a picture of your current writing space and ask them what they think you're currently working on. Maybe it's a novella, or maybe it's an addition to a series, or maybe it's a brand new series you're working on. So these are different ways that you can use social media to your advantage to get people excited. As you're looking at your marketing strategy, particularly when you're looking at social media, you want to think of ways that you can engage your audience and get new followers to engage with your content rather than looking at how you can increase sales. Because engagement is so much more important when you are looking at social media. When you have followers and an audience that engages with your content, it will then be easier to start converting them into sales, or them themselves will start looking into different ways that they can buy more of your stuff. I'm hoping these tips gave you a little bit more insight as to how you can tackle and conquer your social media strategy. In the upcoming videos, we will be going a little bit more in depth as far as social media and author platforms and author marketing goes. But for now, make sure that you are subscribed, and that when you subscribe, click the notification bell button, because that's going to send you a notification whenever we do have a new video. We publish videos once a week, and we also have a blog that has the written form of our videos along with a podcast that has the audio form of our videos. So no matter where you are, you'll be able to get a little bit more insight in the publishing world, whether it's editorial advice or marketing and so forth. So make sure that you are following us on all platforms. Our website is book2publish.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Book2Publish. And I do have 2 freebies that will help you stay organized during your writing journey. So make sure to click down below to sign up to our newsletter, and we'll get those freebies sent over to you. See what I did there? So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.